Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about how to increase the intensity of explosive efforts in prepubertal children. So if you saw my Instagram post yesterday, it was talking about Rattel et al.'s 2002 study, which basically showed that kids had a peak power output that was up to 3 times less than adults, and it was even up to 2.7% less than children who had gone through puberty. So I said tongue-in-cheek that the best thing you can do to increase strength, power and explosive efforts in children is wait for them to go through puberty. But in all seriousness, I would probably employ a concept that I've shamelessly stolen from one of my platform to perform podcast guests, Jeffrey Chu, and employ the barbell strategy. So basically, we are going to focus on raising the floor and raising the ceiling. So the floor would be refining movement technique in these explosive efforts. For children, I probably wouldn't go for a sets and reps approach because you'll bore the arse off them. But can we change the movement variable to refine technique? So for example, rather than getting kids to hop and then stick the landing for 3 seconds, again, incredibly boring, can we, for example, if we use something like a balance beam, that will necessitate kids having to hold their landing for a couple of seconds anyway because they won't fall off the side. Equally, if we're talking about increasing strength, rather than saying to kids, right, we need a slow, controlled lowering phase, if you've got a dumbbell and they're doing a goblet squat, place a full cup of water on top of it. You get this stability, they get the fun and enjoyment out of it, but it's also training their nervous system to squat appropriately and to hit depth and to control the movement. So we either refine movement technique, but I would play about with movement variables. So for example, precision hopping, precision jumping, to focus on the technique, rather than jumping straight to how far can you jump, how high can you jump, and I would spend most of my time here. And then once that has gotten rid of some of the technical errors that we typically see with kids, for example, jumping or sprinting. So sprinting, some common ones, sprinting same arm, same leg, jumping with the feet far too close together or the knees buckling inwards. This is typically going to happen because kids haven't developed the stability or control to jump well, and we focus too much on jumping as far as we can. Something that I like stolen from Surf the Curve athletic development is to measure kids' jump, but not to tell them how far they've jumped until you retest. Because typically kids just want to know, did they beat their friend, rather than focusing on, was their technique any good, and have they improved, have they focused on what they need to improve. So refine movement technique by playing gamified versions of jumping, sprinting, and hopping. Use predominantly that to improve their high intensity because they will get better simply by weaning out the movement errors. Develop strength and power when appropriate, but in small doses. That technique work is going to come first, but we're avoiding that middle zone of high intensity interval training because, as the Rattel paper shows, kids, especially pre-puberty, aren't designed for high intensity. They're designed for submaximal work. They're designed to repeatedly perform submaximal work. So if your sports coaching looks more like this, then you're doing reasonably well. And if you're refining sprinting and jumping and change direction technique, then that's going to benefit kids in the longer term. Hope you found this useful. Catch you again in the next video.